Welcome to Dropping In, a podcast of storytelling and interviews with your host, Winter Olympian Mercedes Nickel.
Thank you so much for dropping in today. I am so excited to be partnered with Sway Vodka Sodas. Why? Because they will be donating on my behalf to Can Fund. And this series is all about helping Team Canada athletes. Well, actually, we're talking to them. Sway is helping them by donating to Can Fund. Sway is a better tasting vodka soda with nothing to hide. It's real simple and unforced while still delivering more flavor. Martha McCabe, my co-host throughout series 4 of Dropping In. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've had fun learning about all of these athletes / they're pretty much our friends, but they're sports. Have you had a good time?
Oh yeah, it's super fun. And yeah, I feel like I learned so much in each one about like either the sport or them, their life. It's always cool.
It's so wild. Okay, so this episode is kind of like a little bonus episode. Obviously, everyone's headed to Tokyo. So Mark was our last athlete, and we're just gonna kind of go over the series. If you have listened or haven't listened, this is a little bit of a recap. So I started episode 31 with the one and only Martha McCabe. Olympic swimmer who is actually going to Tokyo. So when we wrap this up of the little recap, I'm going to ask her a couple questions about heading over to Tokyo. When this episode airs, you will be in Tokyo, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Episode 32, we dropped in with Georgia Simmerling, who's kind of an anomaly of a Team Canada athlete. I mean, do you have anything to say about Georgia?
Oh man, it was fun chatting with her. I'm a huge fan of just cycling, so I could have spent hours on that one just asking her so many questions. Plus, I think we met her dog in that episode.
Yeah, we did.
Maybe.
Dog and
That was fun.
girlfriend that was cooking dinner.
Yeah.
Who's
That
also
was
going to the
funny.
games.
Right, exactly. As a soccer goalie, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So rad. I mean, she does take breaks. I've been following her Instagram, and I'm like, oh, I do see you are taking a break. She's just a go girl. All
Yeah.
right, episode 33. We dropped in with Evan Dunphy, and he is our race walker. And what I learned from this one was that this will potentially be the last time the 50K race walk will happen at the Olympics. Why? Because it's only the males do it, and the Olympics are trying to bring a fair playing field for women and men. So that's going to be really exciting to watch. And then we also learned a lot about race walking. Do you remember?
Yeah, we did. And oh yeah, I remember. There's some good stuff in that episode. And Evan is I just think he's such an impressive guy. Like 50K race walk, that is an incredibly long event. And like the mindset you need to have to be able to like keep a certain pace and like just keep going and probably even get faster is incredible. And I remember in Rio, there was the whole like he got bumped and fell and got a medal and then didn't have the medal. Like that was a big deal. So like to a degree, like there's excitement on the line. Like he potentially could be a medal potential. So like I don't know. It'll be really awesome to watch him race.
I know. I can't remember. I'd have to go back, but I was like, is this redemption? But he's actually so Canadian that like it's probably not redemption. He didn't go for the appeal, so you're kind of like, you're such a gentleman.
Oh yeah, that story in itself, him not going for an appeal, like people should Google that, read the whole article because like it's actually such a wild story.
Yeah, he's full Canadian, and he does not poop on the race course, my friends. Or That's a good conversation we had in there. All right, episode 34, we dropped in with Pierce LePage, who blew my mind because just even thinking of doing 10 sports in 2 days competing at the Olympics, I was just like, I don't understand how you train. So he kind of broke it down for us, but also how he kind of chills out with video games. Like he's kind of a
Yeah,
video
I
gamer.
liked that piece. Yeah, that was interesting. Those are the fun things you learn on this podcast. It's like these little side hobbies that some of these athletes have, right? Because some of them they train so hard. Well, all of them train so hard, but then they have time on the side to kind of recover where you need to chill. So it's like, what do they do with that time? And he
Totally.
has a good story there, which is fun.
I know. I seriously think if esports makes it into the Olympics, he could potentially go to the Olympics for that as well. Like I know he said he was retired, but because he's like working on sport and you make so much
Yeah,
money. You make so much money
yeah,
in esports. I'm like, did you choose the right avenue?
yeah. Was that an error? Well, hey, what like could you compete in two different like fully different like could you compete in esports and decathlon at the same Olympics? That is a whole other thing. Eh? Like I don't think that must not be allowed. Like that's never happened, has it?
No, that for sure could be
An
allowed.
athlete going and like
A
so like you could
different
go so
I don't see
yeah
why that
like different
wouldn't
sport
be allowed.
altogether.
I think it comes
Yeah,
down to
I
like
suppose.
timing, right?
Yeah,
And
like you could
qualifying.
compete in the sport in the first week and in the second week. Like theoretically,
Y-
I'm getting way off track here, but
No, but you
theoretically,
probably
could
could.
you compete in swimming and then athletics, like week one and then week two?
I don't see why not, but I
Yeah,
don't know how you would qualify because you kind of narrow
yeah,
things
you'd be so
down.
hard.
But
Yeah,
that brings me to a point like Tora Bright, this is the same sport, snowboarding. She
yeah.
competed in all three disciplines in half pipe,
Okay.
slope style, and border cross. She's not a border crosser. She's a full on slope styler and she has gold in the half pipe. But yeah, she did that. And I was like, what? I don't understand how you have time to do
Yeah,
any of this. But
yeah, yeah,
Pierce, if you're listening to the recap,
yeah,
think about that one.
yeah.
Okay, so
That's funny.
far, all of those athletes, Georgia, Evan, Pierce, are qualified for the games. We're just a couple weeks out from the games. And episode 35 dropped on a Thursday with Annie Guglia. And on Friday, we got the unfortunate news that she did not qualify. Um, but go back to episode 35 because she does explain how the qualification works. And the reason it was like, oh, I love the Olympics, but I hate when people don't qualify that you think are going to qualify. She, the top 20 skateboarders go on to the Olympics, and
Mhm.
there's a maximum number of um, women and men for the top 20. And she was 23rd. That's right, isn't it, Martha?
Something like that, yeah. And Canada, I don't think we're sending any females actually at all, which is
No, she
unfortunate.
she would have been the top.
Yeah, but you know what? She's an unbelievable athlete, an unbelievable person. Her outlook is so good. Like, not qualifying for an Olympics is absolutely crushing.
Mhm.
Like I'm sure you've experienced it to a degree at some point. Like I experienced it when I was, trying for my first games. Really, I was probably 18 years old, and it just devastated me at the time.
Yeah.
But when I look back on my career now, it's like that is what made me who I was later,
Mhm.
and like allowed me to go to two games after. And I just think Annie's gonna have the same experience. Like it's crushing, it's devastating, but like she also has so much more ahead of her. Like this is just a little tiny step, and whether it's at the Olympics or just in skateboarding or in life, like she's clearly a very successful
Oh my
woman. So
gosh. She's like a trailblazer for women skateboarding in Canada. And I am like just proud of her. If you guys go to her Instagram, one of the last posts she did was just the things that she's learned and she's lifted them off. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's
yeah,
like crushing it right now. I'm
yeah,
like, can't wait to see what happens with her. So that was episode 35, dropping in with Annie Guglia. Number 36, episode 36, Jacqueline Simoneau. We dropped in with this artistic swimmer. It's no longer called synchronized swimming. We didn't really get into that, but I think it's because like there's now solo swimmers, because she does solo
Okay.
swimmers,
I wasn't.
and
Okay.
then they're not all synchronized. I think she does her own dance.
Yeah, it makes sense.
In the water.
Yeah, which is cool. I didn't know why they changed the name either, but
I know there was like
all
unhappy
good.
people about it for sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Of
I had
course,
it.
there always is.
People don't like change, Martha. They don't like change.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I had to add in this episode after, because we talked to her before she went to Budapest and all these other competitions that she wasn't sure was going to happen. Dude, she's like gold, silver, gold.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
she's in it to win it. The chocolate that she's eating
Yeah.
right before she drops into the pool is really paying off.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually remember, again, like seeing Jacqueline Simoneau in Rio, and like she was young, and like, so I just think this is her time. You know what I mean? Like she was doing really well, and like you could tell she was like part of the team, and like I think they did fairly well in Rio, but just like it's 4 years now added on, which she's clearly just been like working away and like crushing it. Because like, yeah, as you say, unreal like past few months for her on the world stage. So another like really exciting one to see go to their next games and probably do something big.
I know. It's that's what I'm saying about these games, is like the people that you think are going to win or should have won last summer, are they gonna bring it, or did they feel like complacent and are just kind of riding the wave, or did they work their little tushies off I don't know what's gonna happen at these games.
It'll be a huge mixed bag. You're right. Some people that you think we're gonna go like easily win are just gonna be not there, and then you're gonna have these surprise people. It'll be cool.
I know. I'm excited. I can't wait. Okay, episode 37, dropping in with Alana Yip. I don't know about you, Martha, but I have been posting some of her training, I guess we would call it, on Dropping In's Instagram, because every time I scroll through, I'm like, she's just hanging on like a freaking spider.
This one's wild. Sport climbing. This is its first appearance, correct?
First appearance, yeah.
So like, what a cool sport to like see in the games. And it's going to be, I think in that episode she explains a bit about like what actually happens. It's kind of complicated, so definitely check out the episode, because she goes into it, which helps understand what's going to happen. And
I know, because it happens
it's going to be cool
all in one day, which I didn't realize, because there's 3 different disciplines, and it's like go time. Someone did ask me a question about that episode, and they said for the bouldering part, because with the bouldering you get the 4 minutes in finals, 5 minutes in qualifiers to climb up this kind of shorter wall, and they were like, well, yeah, they don't get to see the wall before they compete. So does no one get to watch anyone else while they're competing? Ooh.
Yeah, you must be right. Yeah, they must be like hiding out in a little
behind the
quarantine room.
Yeah.
Like, behind the wall.
And then if they're done, they can watch and be like, don't beat my time. Don't beat my time.
Yeah. Oh man, that'll be fun. That's a cool one. What a crazy sport.
And then the speed one, that one, I was like, that's a set course. You do it all the time. That's where they're like spider monkeys, just like
Yeah.
Definitely something to watch. Okay, number 38, episode 38, we dropped in with Will Crothers. Now, a little insight, Martha McCabe's cousin, correct me if I'm wrong, is going to be competing at the games. What boat is he in?
Quanlan is in the men's pair.
Oh.
So yeah, he's gonna be competing. So this is his 3rd Olympics. He's like best friends with Will Crothers. So I also know Will pretty well through that.
Yeah.
But those guys are all like, yeah, amazing guys, really experienced Olympians. I think Will's boat has a few young guys, which I think he shares a bit about in the episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, seeing those guys is going to be always exciting. The rowers they're such a fun group to watch. The women, the men, they're beasts. It's so cool.
They are beasts. I honestly reading the 4-year Olympian, it's up there. You can kind of see it. I read that and I was just like, dude, it really depicts how gnarly they train and what happens. Like,
yeah.
I asked Will, kind of out of context for our listeners, I'm like, how are your hands? Because I've read that book, I know like the crap your hands go through and their whole bodies. And we do talk about how like one of his teammates broke their rib. And that's because, in my defense, I say they're so strong that their bodies broke their ribs. Is pretty much what happens.
It's basically true, yeah.
We talk about that in episode 38 with Will Crothers, so definitely check that one out. Episode 39, I realized we were getting very close to the Olympics. A lot of people were heading out to the Olympics, and Mr. Mark Pearson was kind enough to literally finish practice in between practices, chat with me. Unfortunately, Martha was busy, but we do a little shout out to Martha in that episode and her head-to-head business, because I had finished a speaking I had a speaking engagement that night, and Mark also does a lot of speaking engagements for head-to-head. But Mark, oh my gosh, so humble, so great, going to his third games with the okay, I just read CBC and they're like, Devin Haru was like, well, they know they're the underdogs. And I was like, well, I'm not going to bring that up in my episode, but he brought it up and I just read it on Twitter and I was like, they are the underdogs, but dude, they are training really hard and I'm excited to see what's going to happen with them. We talk, obviously, Martha, you weren't there, but our rapid fire was not rapid.
No way.
I know, super weird. One of my favorite questions that was kind of rapid. I asked, I don't know if everyone knows, but he's a coffee and like freak. He loves coffee.
Yeah.
I remember he like hit me up. He's like, "What if I came up with this idea for all these athletes?" And I was like, "Cool, dude. That sounds amazing. I don't drink coffee. I'm not the person you want to talk to about this." But yeah, I think he'd had one training session and had already had 2 or 3 cups of coffee, and then had another training session, so he'll have like another cup of coffee, and then he had coaching. And I was like, dude, where do you find the time? Thank you so much. So it was a really cool episode chatting with him. And we had the same surgeon, because he tore his Achilles.
No way.
Do you remember he tore his Achilles?
Oh yeah. The extra year is a bit of a blessing for Mark. He's had time to recover fully and like get going with training, which like, yeah, I mean, I've talked to Mark quite a bit too. And like, yeah, it sounds like their training right now is pretty wild. Like they are working their butts off, which is exciting to see what's going to happen at the games.
I know anything's possible. Like I'm saying, like a year off, what are the other teams doing? Because they really haven't had too many matches.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty cool.
We do touch on the injury and how he came back, but for the listeners, like I honestly did not think he would be making it to the games, and the fact that he's qualified just shows that like grit and determination in that human being. And I'm like, I'm such a proud friend.
Yeah. Mark is an amazing person, such a great like leader, athlete, everything. Like there's so many pieces to Mark that makes him such a great guy.
Yeah, so fun. Okay, so that wraps up our episodes. Obviously, this will be episode 40. I do want to ask Martha a couple questions as she will be heading to Tokyo. You'll be in Tokyo when this episode airs. So,
yeah,
it's going to be really hot there. What are you going to pack? Or are you going to pack
I
anything, or are you
think,
just going to have the Team Canada kit?
yeah, that's the thing. It's mostly Team Canada kit. But the funny thing is, everyone's talking about how hot Tokyo is.
Yeah.
And like, I've, over the past like few weeks, and when this airs, I'm probably gonna be like, why did I say that? But I've been like looking, and it's been like 20 degrees, and I'm like, what? It's not even that hot. I looked like yesterday, and it was like 30 degrees. So maybe like every week it just goes up by like 10. So by the time I'm there, I'm gonna be like, okay, it's really hot. But
Sweet,
yeah,
I packed this long sleeve for no apparent reason.
exactly. But part of me is scared that I'm gonna be in all these air conditioned buildings. I'm not kidding. Like the heat, I'm okay with. I'm just gonna be like, you know, I got tank tops, shorts. It's all Team Canada stuff, like Mercedes, you know that.
Yeah.
But I'm like a little nervous about the air conditioning situation because I get really cold. So I'm like, oh man, if I'm gonna be like packing all this clothing for like hot weather and then I'm just inside AC and I'm freezing my butt off, like.
Do you want some of my Team Canada sweaters?
Yeah.
Or
to get your
Olympic
winter stuff, eh? Yeah.
You could take my couch and sweater.
Yeah.
You'll be the one that's totally set. That's hilarious. No, that's a great point. I love AC and I hate AC. Are you the kind
Same.
of person if you're driving a car that has AC, are you windows up with AC or are you windows down?
Oh, I'm in like 40-degree weather, windows down, sweating buckets and like just loving it. I don't
I'm
like
the same.
I
What is
actually
that?
don't like being like, yeah, I don't know either. It's just, I think we're like comfortable with just being sweaty. It's like, whatever, that's fine.
It's totally normal for us. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, Mark and I touched on this, like food in Tokyo, and obviously there's going to be a new way of going to the food hall for everyone. Are you going
Yeah.
to pack any snacks?
That's a good question. You're like reminding me of things I need to do. I'm like, oh man, yeah, I probably should, eh?
Should I help you with your list?
Yeah.
Well, I know the food's
Probably.
really
Let's
good
go.
in
Should we go
Tokyo.
through a list right now?
Yeah. Do you want me to
Well,
pull
here's
out
the
my
thing. You know
packing
what? Yeah, that could be good. Like as someone who's going to the games, I know eating is so important, and like the food I eat will be important, but it's not even close to as important as it was when I was an athlete. So like I can go in there and like eat something that might make me feel a little off, and that's okay because I just need to go out and like work and like be a positive vibe, like and like get things done for the athletes. Like, so I'm less concerned about that. If I was an athlete, probably I'd probably be packing like bread and peanut butter and like snacks and like crackers and granola bars, right? Like just to be safe. But I feel like also the Canadian Olympic Committee does a really good job of taking care of its people, like especially the athletes.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're gonna have it set up, you know?
Yeah. I know. I always kind of wonder what the other teams aren't getting that Team Canada does get. Like we get this athletes lounge and a lot of the times not these Olympics, we are allowed to stay and watch the games, where a lot of my other teammates in snowboarding are like, you're done competing, get out of here. So I'm very proud to be part of Team Canada. It's the best.
Definitely. Yeah, like I even think they just do a good job of like cleaning the rooms and like upgrading the rooms a bit, you know, like making them a little bit more comfy with whatever they can. Again, like you say, these games will be different, but I'm sure they're going to do a great job. And when I say they, I think I'm going to be part of that team doing that as a mission, as on the mission.
I know.
We.
It's kind of crazy. I remember like, because going to 4 games, I got to see like, I started to know all the staff and I made more friends, and the behind the scenes of what you guys do that the athletes never see, because it's kind of like Disneyland for the athletes in a sense. This is so when I started, my first job was coaching at a summer camp in Mount Hood, and literally that was what our job was. The kids never saw us fill up gas. They never saw like the other side of what coaching was. And that's what the Olympics is for Team Canada with the athletes. Like somehow your luggage just shows up. And if it's your first Olympics, you're like, oh, this is totally normal. Like I did whatever. And it's just
I know.
hilarious because I'm like, my friend just lugged my luggage up to my room.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm honestly like a bit nervous. Like I almost want to say I'm more nervous for these Olympics than the last two that I compete at, because the last two I compete at, it's very simple, right? You
Right.
just show up and you do the thing that you've been training every day. Like for this, I am actually kind of nervous because like I want to do a really good job because I know what's on the line, and like I I don't know what to expect as much because like I actually haven't been in this role and I haven't
Right.
done this a million times like I had my swimming. So like
Yeah.
I'm super excited, but I'm like, oh man, it's gonna be a challenging for sure.
It's gonna be so fun. Just
Yeah.
I'm really, really excited for you. I probably my last question for you. Are you okay? In a perfect world, sans COVID, because I don't even know if this would be possible, would you
Yeah.
travel in Japan afterwards?
Oh, of course. Yeah. I would for sure.
Yeah.
I I love traveling. Like, and especially right now, right? We haven't traveled at all.
Dying.
This year, yeah, like you say, we can't really do anything. Like it is strict. Like I don't think I can go into, as of now, as it stands now, like I can't go into a pharmacy. Or if I had an emergency and need to go get like something, I can't go into a pharmacy. I can't go to a restaurant. Like everything is in the athlete village or in the hotel I'm in, nothing else. So like, yeah, it'll be different, but in a regular, yeah, year, oh
I
hell
would
yeah,
fly
I would
over
be
there
out there traveling, and yeah,
and join you.
that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say. I'd be like, yeah, friends, family, like
Yeah.
come, like, oh man, it would be amazing. But alas, here we are.
COVID, a
Yeah.
pandemic. No one saw that one coming.
Oh,
Gosh.
pretty wild stuff.
Martha, I have to thank you so, so, so much for dropping in with me all these episodes. I've had a blast. It's been so nice having your perspective and your amazing questions. Can you please just do a quick plug for Head to Head? Because I think it's the coolest thing ever. And I honestly had the best time ever speaking to some girls the other night.
Yeah, that's amazing. We got some really good feedback on your talk. So obviously you're an amazing speaker yourself and really good at sharing your experiences. Head to Head basically connects Olympians and national team athletes with organizations all across Canada and beyond to share their stories and like help promote resilience and healthy habits and confidence and stuff like that. So we just set up these little programs beyond, the speaking engagements that the Olympians do. We run little programs with videos and self-reflection workbooks and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, you can check us out on like Instagram at _head to head or at www.headtohead.ca and reach out. If people are interested, reach out. If you want to hear Mercedes chat and hear her story in depth, let us know and we'll get you guys connected.
Yeah, so many great athletes on the repertoire. I can't thank you enough for heading that up because it's so great, and B, being my co-host for Series 4. Thank you so much, Martha.
Yeah. Thank you. It was so fun. I love it. Yeah, it's great. Keep doing the great work.
I don't know about you, but I'm still really enjoying learning about all these sports that I really didn't know too much about. I do have to shout out Sway. They are committed to supporting communities and charities across the country. And I've chosen a cause near and dear to me, Can Fund, directly supporting Team Canada athletes. Sway will be making a donation on my behalf to Can Fund. Now, what is Sway? It's delicious! It's made with real juice and real good vibes. It's a delicious tasting vodka soda. Cheers! Thanks so much for dropping in. You can find all the dropping in episodes on the Dean Blundell Network or on your preferred podcast network, where you can subscribe and not miss an episode.